then when it comes back from commercial, Chris has a deck of cards with like a couple of customers and people that work at the ski shop, and he he says like, "Hey, pick any card." They pick a card. Turns out to be the King of Diamonds, and then he has somebody else grab a ski pole. You know those sticks when you go up to just excuse me to like go up the ski and like make it to like pull yourself and stuff. Yeah, that's a ski pole. So he grabs that and he throws the cards in the air, and he he just hits one with a ski pole with the ski pole, and everybody's like, "Wow, amazing!" And I could pretty much predict that this was happening, but it's still nice to like see that stuff like happen. But he grabs it, he finds the King of Diamonds, and he's like, "Bam, King of Diamonds, booyah!" So then they're on their way to Mammoth Mountain, and while they're like trying to while they're coming up the mountain, they they also everybody's like starting to have a snowball fight. Then Chris just levitates Snowball all of a sudden, and he like brings it toward his girlfriend. And then he does another quick trick before he has to do White Death, which involves he was just like standing someplace, and then he just makes the steam come from the snow and he disappears. And that was pretty awesome. Okay, now I get to talk about White Death instead of just like rambling on about everything else he did. The main thing he did was White Death, and there was a lot of risks involved in in this in this stunt. So it's basically Buried Alive, only with snow. And you know how that went. Buried Alive, Chris did in season 1 with Rob Zombie, which I thought was pretty cool because I love Rob Zombie. But anyway, so a few things went wrong with Buried Alive. First of all, it was raining, which would cause the dirt to weigh more, putting more pressure on Chris, making it less likely for him to come out alive. But he did come out alive, thank God. But with snow, the snow in itself just weighs more. So, and he'd be 6 feet under the surface of the snow, and that was going to be pretty heavy considering like he'd have all the snow just cover him, like, and let's see how many, it was 120 cubic feet of snow covering him. Let me see. And see, like risks involved would be hypothermia, which would cause his core body temperature to drop. There would be there could be a problem with numbness, where his hands, if he couldn't be able to like pick the lock on his cuffs. And of course, there's 20% less oxygen at the altitude they were at, which was 10,000 feet above sea level. So that was pretty risky too. He was he was trying to prepare himself for all this by sitting in a tub filled with cold ice and cold water and stuff, and also preparing to like conserve his oxygen with ideal breathing, and also trying to get the good feel of being in a coffin by sleeping in the sleeping in a coffin for 2 weeks, like 2 weeks before this actual stunt was going to happen. So yeah, so how the stunt went was he'd be 6 feet below the surface of the snow on Mammoth Mountain, 10,000 feet above sea level, and he'd be in a see-through coffin, so while he's getting buried, people can see that it's still him. There's no tricks going on. And the coffin would be locked. And he would be covered by 120 cubic feet of snow. So Chris was hoping to complete this in 30 minutes, but he didn't. He completed it in 45 minutes, I believe. And everybody was pretty worried. Because as Chris was doing this, you could see from his handheld camera for a time before it went out. Yeah, there were two cameras. Also, I forgot to mention. There was one like actually attached to the coffin, and there's one that was going to be held by Chris the entire time. And there's also going was also a spectator's point of view camera, where the spectator would be holding it, talking about what's going on and stuff. But see, Chris, he got himself out of the shackles, and then he was trying to get himself out of the coffin, where he would see he was trying to like push the coffin to the side so he would have so it'd be an easier escape. He did that, but then all of a sudden, like the snow just fell in on him, and everybody saw that. Thought the snow just fell in, and everybody's a bit worried. They're trying to, so then they're trying to like dig through and make sure he's okay, but then they're like, stop. Maybe Chris meant to do this. So they wait, and finally, bam, Chris is out of the snow. But he was, but when he got out, he just like totally collapsed. He was treated by medics on the site, and of course he's okay now. So yeah, that was the whole episode. Took 11 minutes, but oh well. I thought this was a pretty awesome episode. Even though I knew this like recorded 5 weeks before, I was still like, oh my god, what the heck is going on? Because I know Chris is alive right now, and dude, it was intense. But it's Chris Angel. You never know what's gonna happen with him. So yeah. So before I close out this video, I just like to say a few things. First off, tell your friends about Lovely Loyal Network. I'd also encourage you to follow Chris Angel on Twitter at Chris Angel. Just Chris Angel, no spaces, no underscores, no nothing, just Chris Angel. And let me see, what else? Oh yeah, be sure to go to chrisangel.com. And so yeah, that's it for for me talking about White Death with Chris Angel. And Chris Angel, but Chris Angel Mind Freak. I am stumbling over my own words. White Death on Chris Angel Mind Freak. So look out for the second show review with, I believe, Chrissy OMG. The only Chrissy OMG. So, talk to you guys later. Goodbye.